So, thank you very much for joining. So, we continue our reading from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 1, observing the armies or Sainya Darshan. And today we are discussing the verse number 31. So, till now we have seen that in last 3 to 4 verses, Arjuna is talking with Krishna and he is telling Krishna that seeing my relatives, my body is trembling, my bow Gandhi is slipping from my hand. And yesterday he told that I am forgetting myself and I can see only misfortune coming to me. So he's expressing his situation and he continues to talk with Krishna for next few verses, almost this full chapter. And he gives different views why he don't want to fight, and he also gives references of some shastric understandings and other things. So let us chant today's verse number 31. Nacha shreyo anupashyami
न च श्रेयो न पश्यामि
hatva sajanam ahave
हत्वा स्वजनमाहवे
nakankshe vijayam krishna
न
न
काङ्क्षे
काङ्क्षे
विजयं
कृष्ण
कृष्ण
न च राज्यं सुखानि च
न
न
च
च
राज्यं
राज्यं सुखानि
सुखानि
च
च
न च श्रेयो अनुपश्यामि
न
न
च
च
श्रेयो न
श्रेयो
पश्यामि
अनुपश्यामि
हत्वा स्वजनम् आहवे
हत्वा
हत्वा
स्वजनं
स्वजनमाहवे
माहवे
न काङ्क्षे विजयं कृष्ण
न
न काङ्क्षे
काङ्क्षे
विजयं
विजयं
कृष्ण
कृष्ण
न च राज्यं सुखानि च.
न च
न च
राज्यं
राज्यं सुखानि च
सुखानि च
Please chant.
न च श्रेयोऽनुपश्यामि हत्वा स्वजनमाहवे न काङ्क्षे विजयं कृष्ण न च राज्यं सुखानि च
न च श्रेयो न पश्यामि हत्वा स्वजनमाहवे न काङ्क्षे विजयं कृष्ण न च राज्यं सुखानि च
Anyone else want to try? Okay. So let us read the translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. I do not see how any good can come from killing my own kinsman in this battle, nor I can, my dear Krishna, desire any subsequent victory, kingdom, and or happiness. Purport. Without knowing that one's self-interest is in Vishnu or Krishna, conditioned souls are attracted by bodily relationships, hoping to be happy in such situation. In such blind conception of life, they forget even causes of material happiness. Arjuna appears to have been forgotten the moral course for a Kshatriya. It is said that two kinds of men, namely the Kshatriya who dies directly in front of the battlefield under Krishna's personal orders, or and the person in the renounced order of life who is absolutely devoted to spiritual culture are eligible to enter into sun globe, which is so powerful and dazzling. Arjuna is reluctant even to kill his enemies, let alone his relatives. He thinks that by killing his kinsman, there would be no happiness in his life. Therefore, he is not willing to fight. Just as a person who does not feel hunger is not inclined to cook. He has now decided to go to forest and live a secluded life in frustration. But as a Kshatriya, he requires a kingdom for his subsistence, because the Kshatriya cannot engage themselves in any other occupation. But Arjuna has no kingdom. Arjuna's sole opportunity to gaining a kingdom lies in fighting with his cousins and brothers and reclaiming the kingdom inherent from his father. which he does not like to do. Therefore, he considers himself fit to go to forest and live in a secluded life of frustration. So here, Arjuna continues to talk, or he's explaining Krishna his situation. Yesterday, he mentioned that he's forgetting himself, and we saw that we also face this such situations. So here now, and he also said that his mind is reeling, or his mind is not stable, right? So here, if we see this shloka, we can understand that now he's lost the understanding of his dharma, and he's considering the Kaurav Sena not as enemy, or as his enemies, or persons who are against his own goodwill, but he's considering them as Swajanam. Swajanam means own kingsman, his own people. Swajanam, my own people. So now he's considering them in his relationship with body, is my father, my uncle, my brother. So he's considering everything as Swajana. And so that's why he's saying Hatva Sajanam Ahave. So if I kill my own people, what is good in that? I don't see any good in that. So I don't want any Vijaya. I don't want any victory. And I don't desire any victory. I don't want any Nacha Rajyam, Sukhani cha, not kingdom, not Sukhani, the happiness. So here Krishna is considering, no, sorry, Arjuna is talking in terms of his bodily relationships, and relating those bodily relationships to Sukha, or happiness. And generally we see the battles are fought for gaining the kingdom, and for that the victory is needed. The whoever wins, he gets the kingdom of the opposing party, and then after getting the kingdom and victory, he becomes happy. Why happy? Living with his own relatives, Swajana, and then he becomes happy. So we see there are many games played now, right? Soccer, lawn tennis, cricket, all the Olympics are games only. And why everybody plays the games? The games are played to become victorious. Some team will become victorious, or some individual will become victorious. So because it is not battle, we are not going to win any kingdom. But once you become number one, or you become victorious, then you have fame and you have money, because there are a lot of prizes. So people participate in the game to win, and after winning they get a prize, they get medal, they get fame, they get money, and then they become happy because they have worked very hard for this victory, and after gaining that, they become happy. So in the past we have seen so many people have won so many medals, and they became happy at that particular moment, or for some time. But in the long term, if we see, uh, we don't know, like in 1960s or 1970s, which team was winner. Of course some may know, but many of us don't know. So which team was victorious in which game, what they win, how famous they were. That is, with the time, that diminishes, or that is lost. So that all this type of sukha that Arjuna is talking is very short term, and in long term it does not last for a long time. So Arjuna is talking from his bodily relationships, and what he's going to get from those relationships. And he's forgetting what Prabhupada mentions in the first line, that our own interest as a human being, our main work is to understand the self realization is our main goal. And then once we understand the self, then we understand our relationship with Vishnu or Krishna. That is the supreme relationship. And Arjuna here is not thinking of his own or supreme relationship, but is only considering himself as a body and people in front of him as his bodily relationships. So he's talking in that level, and so that's why he don't feel, he's almost forgot that he came on this battle to fight with Kaurav and win the lost kingdom, and also win also justice to the Pandav and Draupadi, and all these things he almost forgot. And now he don't want victory also, he don't want kingdom also, he don't want happiness also. So he's ready to live unhappy without any kingdom, without anything. He's ready to live in that situation. So, but we have to understand that Arjuna also thought of short term and long term, that even if I win this battle, even if I get victory and kingdom, I may not be happy. That he understood from his current situation. So he also thought that after victory, what will happen? And he judged he want to do or not to. So in our life also, we are taking so many decisions every day, or rather, we have to take so many decisions every day. We have to face so many challenges every day, and our decisions impact not our short term but our long term life also. So if you want to become a famous person or you want to become a powerful person, you have to work very hard. For example, when you join companies or any games, and you want to become number one in that game, or you want to become a powerful person in your company, person with a good position, good salary, and good reputation. If you have to become like that, then you have to work very hard. You have to give a lot of your time to that particular activity of working or that particular game, and then you become more and more engaged, and your most of your time goes into uh, becoming number one in your field. But in this situation, you also have your own relatives, right? With your family, if you are married, your wife, children, or your mother, father, they are there. But your family also, our family also encourages us to become number one, or at least try to be more and more powerful and more uh, a poor person whom everybody admires. That is one type of fame. So everyone wants we want our children to be famous. We want them to be number one. Everyone wants that. But we have to understand that we should have a limit. Our motivation should be in such a way that that person who wants to become famous, or who has to become famous or number one, if he goes in that direction, his time will be engaged in that activity, and then he will have minimum time for his relationships. uh, so at many times we see that these big people who are very rich, who are very famous, who have a lot of money, they don't have time for their families or for themselves also. So they lose this current situation that is in our hand. So Arjuna don't want to lose his relationships, his swajana, his people. So he's saying, I don't want victory. So he don't want victory. That means he don't want to kill anyone. So he want his people to be alive, and then he will be happy. So we have to be very careful when we take the decisions. Consider not only considering short term, but also considering the long term impacts, and also consider if our decisions are going to help us in our ultimate goal. What is our ultimate goal is to understand ourselves and understand our relationship with the with Vishnu or Krishna. So if our decisions are in such a way that it takes us closer to Vishnu or Krishna and his devotees or knowledge about ourselves, then those decisions will not only help you in short term but also in your long term life. So we have to make a principle in our life on which basis we are going to take different decisions and we will handling the different situations. So that will always help us to be in proper consciousness with the main goal or main purpose of this human life. So here we see Arjuna is losing his dharma of Kshatriya also, and that means he's going away from his Kshatriya dharma, and going away from dharma does not really help you in your purpose of life, right? So that is one of the learning from this sloka that we can take into our day-to-day life and try to apply this goal or this planning or values or principles in our life based on which we will take our decisions or will handle every situation in our day-to-day life. So those are some of the points that I thought we can learn from this shloka, and that will help us to understand how Bhagavad Gita is very relevant for us and in day-to-day life also. So if anybody has any comments or any realizations or they want to share some things, please, we have few minutes to do that. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Thank
In
you.
this it is written that there are two kinds of men who
Mhm.
directly dies in front of the battlefield under Krishna's personal order, and the person in the renounced order of life who is absolutely devoted to spiritual culture. Can you
Mm.
explain this little bit, this line?
So this is from Smriti, like Parashar Smriti. It's Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains this, that this sentence is from Parashar Smriti, verse the chapter 3 and 30, verse number 30, that sannyasi engaged in yoga means who has completely dedicated his life for yoga, means with the supreme, like with in the service of the Lord and working for the Lord, and the warrior who dies facing the enemy. So, like in our old times, now also the saying is right, when you go for war, you should not come back. Either you should win the battle or you should die in the battle. And if you die in such a way on the battlefield, then you go to the sun planet. And sun planet is considered to be the topmost planet for pious people or people who carry out the dharma. And so that's why it says that you will go to sun planet. And here who are fighting on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, they are fighting in front of the supreme lord. So it is destined that all these people will get a good destination after their death. So it is also mentioned that those who all five fought and died on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, they got a much higher destination because they fought in front of Krishna.
Okay, Prabhuji, I was thinking that whoever died in front of Krishna, they actually went to like uh, Vaikuntha. But this was made clear, and even you said that renunciate who is working for Krishna, that person also goes in sun globe and not to Vaikuntha.
So that is a general terminology, right? This because this smriti is a generalized, but when people or the person who fought for Krishna or who died for Krishna, or a sannyasi or yogi who is doing only bhakti yoga, So yoga can be different yogas, right? But who is doing the complete bhakti yoga for Vishnu or Krishna, they will of course attaining the prema. If they are successful in attaining the prema for the Lord, then they will be delivered from this material world. But
Okay, understood. I think in the like next chapters, Krishna will tell in detail. I guess this is in
yeah,
general he's speaking in this
yes,
chapter.
yeah, because this is questions, right? So Krishna will give the answers from the next chapter.
Okay, understood. Okay, thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
You,
how to understand Arjuna's compassion that Duryodhana and all his brothers, they did so much. Like they kill him, they try to kill him, they try to like insult Draupadi, all these things. How can Arjun forget and feels compassion for Duryodhana and his friends? Understand this actually.
actually, the question is how to understand Arjuna's compassion, because Kauravas has done a lot of injustice to Pandavas, even tried to kill and insult Draupadi. So, in the last two, three shlokas before that, before Arjuna starts speaking, when he sees all his relatives, that time Prabhupada has mentioned in the purport that this is the nature of a pure devotee of the Lord. His heart becomes so soft and he's so considerate about the next person that he don't care for his own gain or own fame or own pride or own desires. So Arjuna, being a pure devotee of Krishna, immediately when he came on the battlefield, his that nature of compassionate towards all the living entities that came into picture, and there he thought that and after that only he's speaking all these things, because he is so compassionate to the people who have troubled him and he is ready to forgive them. So that is the, because forgiveness is the most uh, precious quality that any Vaishnav or any devotee of the Lord will have, because forgiveness is not easy and Arjuna is ready to forgive them. So that is his compassion, that he is ready to forgive all the mistakes and all the um, bad things that Kaurav has done to him or his Arjuna or other Pandavas or even to Draupadi. So that comes with your pure devotion to the Lord. That's why Arjuna spoke all these questions. But now here we see that Arjuna's compassion was wrongly directed. Right. So Krishna will answer those questions in the next chapter after Arjuna finishes that why he is wrong. He's putting his compassion in the wrong direction or at wrong place. So though he looks like he's compassionate, but he's now today's words we thought that he's going away from his dharma of Kshatriya. So he's going away from the his Kshatriya dharma, which is not a correct thing, because that takes you away from the Vishnu or Krishna.
Actually, in Shastra also it says, right, if someone insult your wife, you have a right to kill that person.
Yeah, so there are incidences or in Shastra there are provisions to take the extreme steps. It's not that immediately once somebody insults you or your wife or anybody, you kill that person. Not immediately. There are 5 steps to be taken. First, you have to talk, then you have to talk with superiors, then you have to talk with Guru and try to tell. And there are some 5 steps. And a last step is Danda, where you give them the final punishment. So, of course, Shastra is for both the sides, right? Those people. But those Shastra are based on not pure bhakti. If you want to do the pure bhakti shastra never says that you kill somebody. Right? So here Arjuna has to kill because for his dharma. And Krishna gives the explanation because on the first day only Krishna never said you kill everyone. They have tried so many steps. Krishna himself has tried to stop this war. And after all the trials are done, then now Krishna says, okay, now you have to kill. You have to carry out your dharma. Right? It's not immediate that somebody, that okay, Draupadi's Vastraharan happened. After that, so many things happen. 14 years they wait for this battle. After that only, after all this thing, Krishna said, I will try to have the peace agreement. Krishna himself tried for that. And after that was failed, then the battle. So there are so many steps in between when you take some severe actions against anyone.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Many times it happens that uh, if something is wrong done to us, then still we tend to forgive or something like that. But if something wrong happens to the loved one or like very close relative, then it's like very difficult to uh, like what to say, forgive them. So this Arjuna's case, you are saying because he's pure devotee, so he's able to do that. So
Hmm.
it's very, very, I think lot of practice is needed for this.
Yeah, of course. But see, Yudhishthir, whatever happened in the Dyuta, right? Yudhishthir lost everything. The insult, the Draupadi was insulted. But at that moment, uh, Yudhishthir told everyone not to react, right? Because he has lost. So he, in that situation, also he followed his dharma, even if his own wife was insulted. So it requires, because tolerance and forgiveness are the two qualities that actually help us to be close with the Lord or Vishnu, because whatever happens to us or our loved ones, there is always some history to that, why this is happening to you or your loved ones. And if we take literally the incident that has happened just now and start reacting, then there are so many things that you will have to react. But we have done a lot of karma in the past. Our loved ones also have done a lot of karma, and we have to face the result of the karma that we have already done. But Krishna promises in Bhagavad Gita that my devotee will never perish, my devotee will never finish. So, my devotee and his loved ones or people who are associated with him, they will never perish, they will never be finished, or there will not be any injustice. And Krishna will give us the guidance. And Krishna says that I will give you remembrance and everything, and tolerance also, to go to cross over all these impediments that come in your bhakti. So of course it's not easy thing to tolerate also, because after toleration then is forgiving, and to tolerate is the most difficult thing, because in Kali Yuga the Rajogun and Tamogun is so strong that you need to take some action if something wrong happens with you. That's how we feel. So yeah, this needs to be cultivated, and that cultivation comes through bhakti, when we are stick to the bhakti process and the ultimate goal, and we trust Krishna, because surrendering and faith in Krishna means that whatever is happening with us, Krishna is observing, and he will settle all those things at right moment and right time. And Krishna's time and Krishna's moments are not as per our expectation. He has his own plans. but those plans are always perfect and we don't know those plans. That's why we take the actions, and by that we become more and more engaged. So it's always better to be, if you think that I can be tolerant till tomorrow, for example, then it's always better to add few extra time in that your limit. So if you think that for a particular answer or particular situation I can be tolerant for 15 days, then please add more 15 days into that. Okay, I will see what Krishna wants to do. If he does something, I will be more patient and I will wait. And we have to pray. And that's also surrender, right? So through tolerance and forgiving, we also surrender to Krishna. So that's why it's important. That helps in bhakti actually. And forgiveness, yeah, is not weakness. Forgiveness is um, why it is said to be a good quality or a rare quality, because it strengthens you. It strengthens your position and it strengthens your bhakti. That's why forgiveness is said a jewel of qualities that should be possessed by a bhakta.
But Arjuna is not compassionate to Draupadi. Like if we see like this, he is ready to forgive Duryodhan, but then it looks like it's an injustice to Draupadi. He is not compassionate towards Draupadi, whatever happened to her.
No, that is why Bhagavad Gita is spoken. Na? So he has put his, uh, because this is a dharma yuddha, if he becomes compassionate at this dharma yuddha, he's going against his dharma. That's why that's why Krishna spoke afterwards, Bhagavad Gita, why you are wrong, why your thinking is wrong. That's all the Bhagavad Gita is all about. That some people, that's Arjuna's situation. If you put at compassion at wrong place, to wrong person, to wrong situation is also not correct. Should be a proper motivation and proper intention, then it is useful. That is, then it helps us to be in Sanatan Dharma or Bhakti. That's why Bhagavad Gita is studied by intelligence, and intelligence is helpful for Bhakti. Okay,
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much,
thank
Guruji.
you very much for the nice questions. It helps to expand our discussion and understand more points. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. So we'll continue tomorrow with more points that Arjuna will put in front of Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for joining every day.
Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Hare Krishna Guruji.
Thank you, Hare Krishna Guruji.
Thank you, Hare Krishna.